Hey guys, and welcome! Today I'm going to be showing off the mighty, the new, the improved, the awesome looking Warbear Riders. These are the Regiment of Renown. They're called the Oath Brothers of TOR, and they are the new regiment around Warbear Riders. Yesterday I showed off the Doom Knights. There's also the Pox Riders featured in that battle, and it was glorious stuff. But today we get probably my favourite of the new units. They look absolutely awesome, and they do devastating damage. Certainly some powerhouses to be reckoned with. Only 200 gold extra than your standard Warbear Rider, and they come in with the really powerful ability, despite the fact they have awesome stats as well, Call of TOR. So this does a air of effect, kind of lightning strike damage, which looks really cool, but more importantly, applies blinded for 10 seconds. Blinded will not be kind of new to a lot of you guys who played in Warhammer 2. Solar Engines had this, for example, and it is a very, very powerful debuff. Learn defense, attack, accuracy. It can really turn the tide. This does have a 90-second cooldown, but you can pop it as many times as you want over the course of a battle. So let's delve into it. It's going to be a domination game today. Been a while since we've done one, actually, and rather excited to bring Kislev here, who I think Kislev have kind of fallen off a little bit. Kislev are nowhere near as good as they once were. Certainly one of the weaker factions in the game, I would argue, but maybe with the new Warbears they can turn that around. We do have Catherine herself leading the battle charge. I didn't want to be boring and bring the Heart of Winter like everyone else does, so instead I decided, you know what, I'm going to mix it up a little bit and actually bring the Crystal Sanctuary and trying to combine this with our Warbears, giving them that 60% damage resistance when they're in big key fights. We do have double Little Grom, we have a sneaky little Snow Leopard, and then some Corsair Spears. On the far side, our opponent does have the mighty Mad Lad himself, just spewing forth the battle chants of Urson, and he's going to be coming in with a decent amount of buffs. Looks like he's got 2 of the activatable ones. He comes in with the Battle Hymn as well as Lullaby. We have a Frost Maiden of Ice Magic coming in with, of course, the less classy Air of Effect spell, in my opinion, the Heart of Winter. We then have a load of War Sleds, so it looks like a double heavy War Sled. We have some Warbear Riders, Patriarch on foot, and a Snow Leopard. Now, there is no comeback mechanic anymore. Hallelujah, this is something I've been pushing quite a bit, that there should not be a comeback mechanic, and hopefully people aren't too mad at me that I pushed it, because it's not in the game anymore, which is really awesome. And we'll have to see how it does indeed fare. Maybe it's a mistake taken out, only time will tell, but I really do feel rewarding players for losing is probably not a good thing to do, particularly in a competitive sense. So hopefully it'll help out tournaments quite a bit. Now my opponent's playing real aggressive. We get some lovely shots by Little Grom onto the Warbears, who have been sent packing and retreating as swiftly as possible. Corsairs are lighting up shots, just aiming at the Frost Maiden at the moment, trying to take away her magical prowess. We have some dervishes moving forward. Their main idea was to try to pin in the heavy war sleds. I do pull them back though before we engage. I don't really want to take the fight so close to so many enemy troops. We've got a bit of Snow Leopard on Snow Leopard action, but no one cares about that when the Warbears are bomb rushing in, charging through the lines rather sluggishly there, but I love their golden tint. The Corsairs should know to get out of the way of their betters here, and in come the glorious Warbears, charging it downhill onto those heavy war sleds as well as enemy cavalry and leadership. We are aiming at the enemy general here. We do have Crystal Sanctuary go down. That's going to be a 60% damage resistance, which is just going to mean we're basically taking 0 work at all. Heavy war sleds are being buffed. They're trying to push by. Looks like one unit was able to sneak into my back lines. The others have been pinned in place, and the Warbears are ripping them to shreds like it's nothing. Snow Leopard, our Snow Leopard was proven to be the truer and mightier of the two, and in comes the air effect ability by the Warbears, and now you can see Blinded has gone down on the enemy generals, doing some really lovely damage there to boot. Heavy War Sleds are coming back. It looks like a Heart of Winter is unfortunately going to go down. Oh no, it's actually the air effect kind of Glacier spikes instead. My opponent's Warbears have snuck back in the action. They were able to get a little bit closer after Little Groms were silenced. And there's a mess in the back here. Heavy War Sleds are just grinding through Corsair Spears, trying their best to do some decent work. There is some cavalry. It looks like it is my own wing lance have been brought in to deal with the enemy chariots. And the Warbears are having a fantastic time. Frost Maiden is basically dead. Of course, Catherine putting her in a body bag and proving once and through who is the better witch in the west. Or in Kislev. I don't think, Kislev's definitely not in the west. But, they're going down and being finished off here. It looks like the Oath Brothers of TOR are just surrounding and beating the living snot out of Costeltine here, who is one of the most durable lords in the game. He has access to healing, can be very tanky and sticky, particularly on his warbear, and he is getting ripped to shreds right now, and they have barely been touched themselves. Looks like another Heart of Winter did go down, catching out some of my troops. The majority of them were able to circumvent that, but I'm really stuck in my deployment zone, and this is quite a problem now that there is no comeback mechanic. I can't just allow my opponent to capture these objectives and sit back in my zone. I have to push forward and actually get involved with the fighting as much as possible, but I'm really struggling to get out of the aggressive play of my opponent so far. However, I'm certainly getting the better trades. My enemy general is nearly down. The Oath Brothers of TOR, such a badass name, are doing some awesome work here, ripping and tearing bloody chunks from the enemy general, who's soon to be shattered, surely. He is again very beat up and low indeed. Little Groms are still singing, popping at long-range shots. Unfortunately, the Warbear Riders have broken through. I'm starting to lose a lot of ground here. We do get a lovely rear attack from our dervishes, pinning the enemy in place up against some spearmen, and it is going to be a killing pit to I suppose challenge that of the Battle of Cannae for bloodiness and glory. And it looks like the dervishes are on the side of the Romans here, unfortunately. Again, absolutely butchered here. The Catherine's taking a breather in the back. She did just chase off a unit. She gets reactivated in a memento. Little Grom is about to be shot down. There's a heavy war sleds force their way into the back. The Warbears as well apply me under a load of pressure, and I have to make a big decision here. I really want to chase off the enemy general, but I can't do it. I don't have the resources, so instead I'm going to chase off the enemy warbears and try and save my back line. We did come with our air effect damage. It did manage to blind this Patriarch, who's now going to be running around, not really knowing where he is. But the warbears are getting involved with the enemy ones, tear them to shreds, and hopefully going to free up my back line a little bit, because it's getting a little bit risky here. Now, we have managed to sneak some dervishes through using these vanguard points. We're going to capture Objective 3. Objective 2 shall soon be ours, or at least I hope. There's a lot of enemy infantry on arrival, and Objective 1 is being held by my enemy. Something I noticed about the comeback mechanic being missing, games do feel like a little bit slower than in the previous one, but that may just be this one game I've I queued up and this is what I got. You kind of queue up now and you either get land battles of domination, which yeah, I've got some pretty strong feelings about. I may do a video on it. I'm not the biggest fan of the fact you randomly get pitted, get into a game mode and so on, but I kind of understand why they do it. But I maybe do a video on that at some point. Let me know if you want to see that, my thoughts on that and stuff. Wing Lance is doing a good job in the back here, fending off the enemy dervishes. My opponent kind of went gun-ho, really trying to shut down the little Groms, push forward, chuck everything on the line, get a load of fast-moving units on the battlefield, and pin me in my deployment zone. But what happens when you trade poorly and that doesn't work? Well, this. A lot of your troops are just dying. I'm getting very close just to bursting out, and I've been able to contest at least some of the objectives. It looks like our Snow Leopard's getting a little over-eager and may actually get hunted down here. Our Warbears have been just maniacs of blood and thunder today. They're up to 40 kills, and they already at this point have 4,700 gold value. I really hope this isn't a fluke and they are actually as powerful as I wish them to be. There was no early access for this. I know you guys probably want to see some more of these Regiment Renowns earlier, so they're kind of new and fresh to everyone, which is pretty awesome stuff as well. So I'd love to see your replays of some of the new units. Dervishes are going to be charging into Armoured Corsairs, trying to keep them at bay whilst we push Objective 3, or my opponent off Objective 3, and I'm really starting to make a move for number 2 now. We have Corsairs on the way. We also have some Zargard great weapons. I've been able to get some more elite infantry into the battlefield, and now the Oath Brothers of TOR, as well as Catherine, who is currently being bodyguarded by them, have finished off the enemy general. We're going to leave his corpse in the snow, tread it all over it, and make a move for Objective 1 instead. Enemy troops are coming in though thick and fast. We have some Snow Leopards on arrival. There's a decent chunk of infantry. The little Groms are still going strong. Now I do have a problem that there is a decent amount of single entities in the back, and that they're really hard for units like Cathay and Kislev to deal with and get them out of your back line, but I'm kind of going to be giving up on this. I'm just going to move little Groms away. If my opponent chases them, that's fine. They've already kind of done the damage and forced my opponent's hand into an aggressive style of approach, which doesn't always work for Kislev and certainly hasn't worked so far for my opponent, as we now dominate the map. Snow Leopard and Patriarch are going to be trying their best in the back, but I do get in some heavy war sleds to try and apply a bit of pressure to the enemy infantry coming in. Looks like enemy dervishes are rather bravely going to be suicide charging into the Oath Brothers, who don't even give them the time of day to charge back. They're probably a bit stunned at the audacity of these units, and one of the Oath Brothers actually goes down. I love the lightning crackling over their armor, and we're going to be bringing that lightning down on the enemy. Doesn't do the craziest damage, but certainly does a damage is damage at the end of the day, and it's always juicy. But applying that blind is what really makes the Oath Brothers so good, I believe. We're going to be tearing apart the enemy. More dervishes are coming in, but objective 1 is certainly going to be ours. Middle objective is doing all good. The heavy war sleds are beating back Kossars, and now the Zargard can get nice and aggressive, and it is my turn to push my enemy back into his deployment zone. We have dervishes overrunning armored Kossars. My opponent summoned some troops as well, so there's a little bit of pressure on objective 3, but I'm applying way more on objective 1 here. We are just slaughtering the enemies by the dozens. The Oath Brothers bow to no peasant dervishes from the north, and they shall cut them down. And it looks like the dervishes not having the best of days here, allowing the Oath Brothers to rack up that kill count. Look at the countless dead bodies on the ground. There is so many of them, and certainly the Oath Brothers of TOR having a whale of a day now, up to nearly 120 kills. Objective 1 is going to be falling into my hand, and the beautiful thing about this, and what I really love about the changes to domination here, is I can go for this triple cap and I don't have to worry about, oh, should I go for the triple cap? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Will it give my opponent an unfair advantage? No, you can just go for it. Go for the objectives and try and win the game as quickly as possible. It's certainly a more viable tactic, which speeds up games in a way. There's a lot less kind of posturing in the early stages, but having no comeback bonus does mean reinforcements will be coming in a little bit slower. Zargard moving over. They probably have no chance of catching the dervishes, so they can believe their main job is just to move down to objective 3 and try to cap it, or at least hold it as long as possible, as my snow leopards deal with the heavy war sleds. Single entities in the back, I've just ignored them. I'm just moving around them where possible. They don't really pose too much of a threat to me anymore, and I don't have any more long-range troops coming in. I'm really just trying to swarm the objectives as swiftly as I can do. Heavy war sleds moving into the back. My opponent, rather wisely, I think, is going to bow out there, realising there is simply no way back into the game. But very well played to him. It was an awesome game. I like his aggressive style of approach. Nearly paid off at the start. We were just able to get really good in trades. And the biggest boon really was the Regiment of Renown, who performed just beautifully. Absolutely wonderful stuff by them. 5,549 gold value, 128 kills. Take a bow, that was beautiful. The Little Groms as well, 1,000 value, 770, entice the enemy in place, and Catherine's spells. I think that Crystal Sanctuary may be a little underrated. Got 1.8k value herself, and just working in Tamden alongside the Oath Brothers of TOR is such a awesome kind of powerhouse. I would like to see them alongside Boris, of course, as like leading his boys into action, but the Catherine spells can be priceless with the Oath Brothers. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content into the future. Both things help out the channel massively. And feel free to leave a comment down below. What's been your favourite Regiment of Renown so far? Are you enjoying them? Are you enjoying the changes to domination? Is there other stuff you would like to see in the future? Just let me know. And there's a load of links down below to Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. Discord's where you can submit replays. Twitch is where I do occasional extra streams. I've been lacking on streams recently for a few reasons. I'll probably discuss them on the next stream. And at the same time, yeah, there's also Patreon down there, and on Patreon you can support the channel financially. Likewise, you can do that by becoming a YouTube member. Massive shout out to all my Patrons and YouTube members who help keep the channel floating and up and running. So until next time, guys, peace, and as always, stay awesome.